Welcome to Oladele Olunike video logs. And I am your regular host, the quintessential polymath, Oladele Olunike is my name. This is our ongoing communication mastery series. In the last episode, we discussed communicating without assumption, part 1. That edutaining video was published on the 27th of March, 2018. For those who would like to have a robust understanding of these episodes that we're putting together today, we urge you to kindly hop onto our channel, the YouTube channel, that is youtube.com/Oladele Olunike. In that episode, one critical lesson that we learned was assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. End of quote. Assumption is an error that human beings often commit in communication. In that episode, we discussed 2 critical true life scenarios where my senior colleague and I, who is a female, traversed different parts of the country while delivering training services to our corporate clients. And because of this, we needed to use certain hotels to deliver these training services. And it was so striking, the experiences we encountered with different people in different cities communicating with assumption. In the first story that we shared in that first episode, there was this hotel in this city where we put up, and there was this waiter, Ernest is his name, who regularly attended to my senior colleague and I. So from time to time, whenever he was on duty, he would have to record whatever meal we took so that it could be paid for later. So there was this morning, he approached my senior colleague and I and asked this question: are you in the same room? You don't even want to know how awkward a situation it created. Why? Because my senior colleague and I, who happens to be 13 years older than I am, are not even married together. So Ernest communicated based on assumption. In the second scenario that we shared in that part 1, we shared a story of another co-guest, or a co-guest, I should say, in the second hotel in the second city that we went to work. This family, husband, wife, 2 children, regularly come across us during our breakfast and sometimes lunch in the restaurant. So there was this morning where when my senior colleague went to the hotel, or rather to the restaurant ahead of me, whilst I was still freshening up in my hotel room. So when she saw my senior colleague, she asked this question: where is your husband? Now you can imagine the fact that my senior colleague and I were not, or are not, married together. So she was lost for words. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 lessons that we shared in the part 1 are what I need to reiterate here, that we can learn from communicating with assumption and why we should communicate without assumption. Number 1, communicating with assumption creates an awkward moment. Number 2, communicating with assumption will embarrass the person you're communicating with. And number 3, communicating with assumption will embarrass you, the person communicating with the other person. So in this episode, where we want to look at how do we eradicate assumption in communication. If you like, you can title it Communicating Without Assumption Part 2, or how to eradicate assumption in communication. So how do we eradicate assumption in communication? Number one, ask questions for clarity. Ask questions for the purpose of clarifying. Remember, Ernest asked my senior colleague and I, are you in the same room? Now, I said, ask questions for clarity. Somebody will say, but he asked a question. Yes, he did. But the source, the fountain, the root of that question was an assumption that we must be married together. We must be in the same room. Having been seeing us come to the restaurant from time to time during our stay at that hotel. So, what could Ernest have asked, or how could he have framed his question? He could have asked, what is your room number, please? And I would have probably told him mine, and my senior colleague would have told him hers. And of course, we're not staying in the same room, definitely. So, to eradicate assumption in communication so as to avoid an awkward moment, to avoid embarrassing yourself, to avoid embarrassing the person you're communicating with. Number one, ask questions for clarity. Number two, how do we eradicate assumption in communication? Stick to provable specifics. Stick to provable specifics. In that second city where we met this co-guest, remember that lady, well-meaning lady, she meant no harm, I imagine. She asked my senior colleague, where is your husband? But to stick to provable specifics, she could have asked, where is the gentleman I've been seeing with you? Now that is a specific. I could be addressed as a gentleman. There could have been no awkward moment, no embarrassment, either to the person communicating or the person to whom the communication is being directed to. So, to eradicate assumption in communication, stick to provable specifics. Because if she had asked, where is the gentleman I've been seeing with you? My senior colleague could have responded, oh, you mean my colleague, Oladele? And there would have been no iota of awkwardness. Ladies and gentlemen, if we must eradicate assumption in communication so that we can be more productive, we can be more effective in communication, to avoid awkward moments, to embarrass yourself and embarrass the person you're communicating with. Number one, remember, ask questions for clarity. Number two, stick to provable specifics. Till we come your way in the next episode in this very, very edutaining, enlightening, and enriching series on Communication Mastery Series, please leave us your comments, remarks, or questions in the comment box below this post. And should you want more of this kind of edutaining videos, we encourage you to please subscribe. Hop to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Oladele Olunike, and click subscribe. But to receive an alert, a notification whenever we post a video, which is regularly, kindly also click the bell on our page of our YouTube channel. And should you have friends whom you think that the subject we have discussed in this video will enrich them, please feel free to share the video with them. Till we share an enriching moment again together in our next episode. It has been your host on Oladele Olunike Video Logs, the quintessential polymath. Oladele Olunike is my name. And I urge you, till then, keep putting a new sheen on your communication polish.